How to have fun anytime, anywhere. Step 1. Go to ChumbaCasino.com.
ChumbaCasino.com. Got it.
Step 2. Collect your welcome bonus.
Come to Papa welcome bonus.
Step 3. Play hundreds of casino-style games for free.
That's a lot of games. All for free?
Step 4. Unleash your excitement.
Woohoo!
Chumba Casino has been delivering thrills for over a decade. So claim your free welcome bonus now and live the Chumba life. Visit ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
You are about to listen to the Dr. Daliah Show. Sassy, stimulating medical talk radio. Any medical advice Dr. Daliah Wax gives on her show should not be substituted for an actual visit to your medical provider. And now, here's Dr. Daliah.
All right. We are back on the Dr. Daliah Show. Thank you all for tuning in. 1-877-Dr. Daliah, 1-877-DOCDALI. Okay, so no, hell no. You know, I hear about all these different sex trends, and a lot of them surround wife swapping, swinging, partner swapping. They don't really use the word swinging as much anymore. That's like an older, I think, 60s or 70s term, maybe before that. But apparently there's this new trend called hot wifing. And it's where men will allow their wives to sleep with another man, maybe two, while they get to watch. And it is, I guess, being touted as a way to improve your relationship. I don't get it, people. Here, New York Post is reporting it. They can describe it a little bit better. Couples are opening up their relationships in a trend called hot wifing, which sees husbands watch their wives sleep with another man. According to Logan, this is being reported by New York Post and Daily Mail. It's kind of like letting your friend test drive your car. He gets to see how well it rides. He's got to give it back, but it creates a sense of pride. You get a little taste of what my life is like. Are you kidding me? Now, I understand this is a media article. This does not necessarily represent the average population, but we do have, I think, an issue where the idea of monogamy is really going out the window. And a lot of people in monogamous relationships bring non-monogamous entities into their relationship, and they call them open. And they're touting their benefits. As a physician, I just see the bad side. No. Now, let's play devil's advocate. Why in the world would people be suggesting this? Well, just like how he describes, he gets to show off his wife. And he wants to feel like he's got something. He needs people jealous. Now, that already, to me, huge red flag. If you need, in order to love your wife and be excited about her and want to be with her in sickness and in health till death do you part, and you need to thrive on the jealousy of your buddies, that's a problem right there. Okay? Because your wife is going to one day look like me. Right? She's going to age, and she's not going to age well. Which means there's probably a 99.9999% chance that your friends are not going to envy you at all. And if that's what you need, their envy, to allow your relationship to thrive, you're going to throw her away once people are like, huh? I mean, if that's the cornerstone of your relationship, where people have to be envious, then you're going to be getting a new car or a new wife every 2 years. Now, this isn't made up. I'm sure of it. We've seen this. I've seen it with friends where they like to have an accessory. They like to have eye candy. They want to walk down the street and people go, wow, that's your wife? Guys love that. Women, we don't have that. Women are a little different. Let's say I am walking down the street with a half-naked Jimmy Garoppolo, right? I don't want women going, whoa, because women are competition. I want to just walk down the street and get from point A to point B. I don't want to have to worry that I got to fight off a lot of women. I don't want that. I want somebody who I know that I is going to be there, and I don't have to be always worried. And so, yeah, I want somebody good looking. I want someone I'm attracted to, and I love my husband, but I don't want that to be the envy of everybody. Now, some people do. Some people thrive by that. No, their husband has to be richer, or their wife has to be, but for me, no. But we keep hearing this concept of open relationships where people will do that, where sex gets boring, so they introduce other couples into the mix. And I don't think that's very helpful at all. First, I think it's dangerous, especially with STDs. Second, you're, connecting with other individuals that's not your home base. And I feel like if you are able to very easily sleep out of and leave your home, even if they're in the room, then it's just an easy step. You're just one step closer to divorce. And I don't think it's healthy. I don't think it's safe. I don't think it enhances relationships. Everybody says, yes, it enhances it. It enhances it. They're full of it. What they're saying is they want to sleep with other people, that they are bucking this monogamy, that the average human doesn't want to be monogamous. They don't want to have one partner for life. So they need to figure out a way so they could sleep around. And one way to do that is to tell their partner, this makes me love you more. This makes me want you more. This is making us stronger. So if you sleep around or let me sleep around, this allows us to improve what we have and build our nest. Now, if you believe it, if that's something you want to do, that's your choice. And there are other people, they have these pods, or they have these where all they do is sleep with each other. If that's what, you got people want to do, it's your business. But please don't be lying and BSing that this is something that's healthy, that this is something that is psychologically rewarding, that this is something that is going to improve your relationship. It doesn't. It doesn't. And I just, and now, some people can say, but Daliah, sex, it could be looked at different ways. Some people look at sex as ownership, or only I get to be, there. Or the problem is the way you look at sex doesn't always equate to what your partner, how they look at it. So as far as I'm concerned, if you're hot wifing or sleeping around or whatever, or opening up, you have a step out of the marriage. 1-877-DOC-DOLLY. Don't go away.
Hi, everyone. If you've been injured in an accident and think you deserve compensation, listen up. We have legal professionals standing by right now to answer your questions for free. They'll tell you if you have a case and how much it's potentially worth. Call 800-710-5100. I'm here with spokesman John Wolf. So, John, tell our listeners who should call right now.
Well, Maria, first off, thank you for having me join you to answer the listeners' questions. Now, as far as who should call in, anyone who's been injured in an accident and think you deserve compensation, give us a call right now and find out how much your case is potentially worth. Call 800-710-5100.
Thanks, John. You heard it, folks. If you think you deserve compensation, call now to find out how much you qualify for. 800-710-5100.
Advertisement sponsored by Legal Help Center. May not be available in all states.
At Hot Shot Secret, we share the science behind common diesel problems and their solutions. For example,
Hot Shot Secret Stiction Eliminator.
Stiction, that sticky friction, undermines the performance of diesel engines. Third-party ASTM testing verifies that Stiction Eliminator removes 2 times as much stiction than any alternative on the retail shelf. Stiction Eliminator is formulated to be left in the engine oil. It works as you drive.
Available at truck stops, Tractor Supply, O'Reilly's Auto Parts, and online at hotshotsecret.com. Hot Shot Secret. Powered by science.
In a study, it was found that 33% of 44 herbal supplements had no trace of the advertised herb. Don't let that happen to you. Hi, this is Dr. Mitch. If you want to ensure quality, please go to totalwellness.com. Supplements made for physicians only now available to you too. totalwellness.com, helping you to look good, feel good, and enjoy total wellness.
Hello, it is Ryan, and I was on a flight the other day playing one of my favorite social spin slot games on ChumbaCasino.com. I looked over at the person sitting next to me, and you know what they were doing? They were also playing Chumba Casino. Coincidence? I think not. Everybody's loving having fun with it. Chumba Casino is home to hundreds of casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere, even at 30,000 feet. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com to claim your free welcome bonus. That's ChumbaCasino.com and live the Chumba life.
No purchase necessary. VGW. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
All right. We are back on the Dr. Daliah Show. Thank you all for tuning in. 1-877-Dr. Dali, 1-877-DOCDALI. Big thanks to Talk Media Network for making the show happen. Big thanks to Daniel, our producer, and big thanks to y'all for tuning in. We really do appreciate it. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at Dr. Daliah, Facebook, The Dr. Daliah Show, and on YouTube, click like and subscribe. Brian, I'm taking your calls and your questions, your comments, and we talk about everything on the show. We do need to talk a little basketball, but that's not what this question is about. Brian says, explain to me, and again, I'll take a crack at it. He says, explain to me why Trump is not messing this country up and about to cause a huge recession and World War III. Brian is not a fan of Trump. And listen, I'm not here to advocate for one political party or another, but being a business owner, an employer, an employee, a doctor, a parent, a taxpayer, I don't look at things the same way Brian does. And when you are a physician, you have to understand the psychology, how people think. I can't tell a person to do a mammogram or do a colonoscopy and expect them to follow what I say if I don't understand that they have a fear of doctors or a fear of procedures or a fear of side effects. A good doctor takes a step back, understands that people might not think the same way they do, and explain why you think something is good. So I'm not surprised. And so how some people, depending on which news stations they watch and articles they read, are apparently looking at, and I love these questions. By the way, keep it up. I don't want just everybody saying, oh yeah, Daliah, medicine is awesome, and RFK Jr. is going to save the world. I mean, that doesn't help me. I need to know, what people are really, really thinking. And so I'm not surprised that there are people thinking that what they're reading and what they're seeing is a complete destruction of Washington. And oh my gosh, he's going to start a war with Canada. And there's not going to be a war with Canada. See, the reason why I'm not panicking, and I get stock market not liking the tariffs. They're not liking the tariffs. I get that. Stock market, my 401k was going down. I don't have much of a 401k because I didn't really start until later because I had to pay off student loans and support my family. And so, but I get people are looking at the here and now going, this is horrible, this is horrible, this is horrible. But I don't look at it as that. I look at it as, okay, it's about time something gets done. It's about time there's a little bit of a correction from what some of these stocks did very inflatedly. There's, it's time that we have a border more secure. It's about time we start investing more in America. And I got to tell you, we are long overdue to get medications back in America. We cannot be reliant on China to the degree that we are. So if bipartisanly Democrats and Republicans agree we need to have a secure border, we need to ensure that there's relatively world peace and that we don't have a World War III, we need to ensure that we have long-term economic growth, ways to curb inflation, stop the spending so we don't have to print money, making the value of the dollar drop, then why aren't more people understanding what Trumponomics is? Is it because they just don't like him? Is it because they're really mad that their Nvidia stock went down? You know, it's very interesting because you hear people talk about climate change. And I have a friend of mine, a very good friend of mine, who says that one of the top priorities when they vote is climate change. See, for me, and I'm not judging, for me, it's national security. I want to be safe. Hospital infrastructure, the economy. But for a lot of people, it's climate change. Okay. Look, that, to each their own. I'm not here to judge. Okay. So if climate change is your big, why? Why is climate change so important to you? Because the kids, my grandkids, I need to know that whatever our president in Washington is doing is going to hopefully fix the globe so that my kids and grandkids will be better, will be fine and safe. Well, that's a nice thought. And you and I may disagree on how to protect the earth, because I love the earth too. I used to work for the EPA. I don't think the electric vehicle is the cure, especially since we can't extinguish them when they go on fire. And we're having neighborhoods burning in wildfires in California because people have these stuck in their garage. But that's okay. But I want the climate. I want the globe to exist. But with that thinking, you're thinking for the future. It's going to be an adjustment. A lot of you bought electric vehicles. It was expensive trying to find a place to charge. But for you, it was worth the pain in the butt because of the long-term gain. Well, so then my question, and again, you know, I apologize if this is just, you know, if you're that concerned about the here and the now, then so why are you having patience on one side of things and not the other? Now, I get it. When it comes to money, okay, we don't have a lot of patience. We can't be losing our money. We can't be losing our 401k. We money, right? You know, we need here and now. And so people don't have a lot of patience. They're not going to tell Trump, okay, I'm going to trust you. I understand it's going to be bumpy because long term, we're going to have more independence. We're going to have more companies invest. It's going to stave off inflation. It's going to stave off dependency on other countries. And like I keep saying, guys, we got to get our medications out of China. And we need to be doing that here in America. We go to war with China, we're screwed. So bringing everything back to America, making us more dependent or independent is going to take time. But people don't have that patience. So like, I don't have time. I'm losing my money now. So then for those individuals where climate change is, again, a huge, huge focus of their politics and one of the most important things they vote for, which, you know, I can appreciate. How come you have the patience for that? And with climate change, you're feeling that bump in the road, getting, you know, the Tesla and then not having a place to charge it and spending the extra money and now having a car payment and, you know, worried about fires. And you're like, guys, but it's worth it because of the long term. If you are a big proponent of climate change, you're doing that because you want the earth a safe place for your kids, your grandkids, and future millennial, which I really respect. But then if you're also worried about the economy and you're worried about national security, then why are you less patient? So, you know, I'm not here to argue that Trump is doing everything right. That's not my job. But when you look at what he's doing in terms of, well, maybe we need to be better situated in the globe, and having access to Greenland helps with that. Maybe having us as run Gaza, since Israel pulled out in 2006 and Gaza got taken over by Hamas. If we want peace in the Middle East, maybe we need to be there and more involved, because look at what happened with our ridiculous pullout in Afghanistan. So, things take time. And I keep saying this, you have to cut to cure. Now, I want to see a diabetic not become diabetic by tomorrow. I would love to cure their diabetes in 24 hours. Doesn't happen. It's a long haul. It's a marathon. And a lot of these things are marathons. So like I said, the big thing I'm just kind of confused on is I understand why people might be disliking Trump and might be disliking what's happening with the stock market and all that. And when Trump says, guys, just have a little bit of faith, have some patience, I understand why people can't. It's their money. They're worried. Fine. They want to make sure Canada is happy with them because they don't want to be booed during the national anthem. But why aren't you showing that same impulsiveness and lack of impatience as it pertains to climate change? For America, especially, to be on board with us trying to fix what China and India and everybody else is doing to the planet, okay, it's going to take a lot of sacrifice on us. And we're willing to do that sacrifice. But we're not willing to do that sacrifice to get companies to come to America, for us to quit being dependent on foreign countries, for us to, it's guys, just be consistent. That's all I'm asking. You got to be consistent. And I understand we like to kind of pick and choose what makes us grumpy. I get that. What we're going to, but I don't think we have to stress out to the degree that we're stressing out. 1-877 Doc Daliah, don't go away. Dr. Daliah here. Are you tired, burned out, gaining weight, succumbing to the daily pressures of life? Well, how's your dopamine doing? How you feel right now, how you'll feel an hour from now, and how you'll feel next week is completely reliant on your dopamine. Our daily motivation and willingness to push through challenges depends on the intricate chemical process dopamine provides. Christian Kalikas and I created Deploying Dopamine, a book that tells you what dopamine is, when it dysfunctions, and how to successfully deploy it when needed. Find Deploying Dopamine on Amazon today. Check it out.
Lisa Wolf here to tell you about our newest website for old-time radio lovers. It's 100radioshows.com. At this site, there are 5 old-time radio shows waiting for you to download free as our gift to you. And be sure to browse the additional 700 old-time radio shows available to you for 70% off by using the promo code RADIO at checkout. This is a limited-time offer, so log on to 100radioshows.com. That's 100radioshows.com.
Hello, it is Ryan, and I was on a flight the other day playing one of my favorite social spin slot games on ChumbaCasino.com. I looked over at the person sitting next to me, and you know what they were doing? They were also playing Chumba Casino. Coincidence? I think not. Everybody's loving having fun with it. Chumba Casino is home to hundreds of casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere, even at 30,000 feet. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com to claim your free welcome bonus. That's ChumbaCasino.com and live the Chumba life.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
We are back on the Dr. Daliah Show. Thank you all for tuning in. 1-877 Dr. Daliah, 1-877 DOCDALI. So this caught my eye. Scientists say time travel is possible and people have already done it. They're not wrong, but it's not Back to the Future time travel. So it's where they might have been ahead a second or two, depending on the Earth's turn and the velocity of the orbit and them being in the space station. And it is possible for you to be at a different point in time. But I don't think we're anywhere near being able to go back. I would want to go back to the 1950s. I just love that era, that decade. I'd want to go back to the 1950s. I'd love to go back into the 1930s and kill Hitler, but I wouldn't be able to access him probably. Everybody says that, God, if I could go back in time, I'd want to kill Hitler. Yes, I would love that, but we can't. There, you just how do you do that? Well, I would go back to when he was a baby or a kid. Well, yeah, that we don't have time travel to that degree. But thanks to Einstein's theory of general relativity, if you move through time faster than a speed of 1 second per second, you are then time traveling. The faster someone can move, the faster they can travel forward through time. Now, on the International Space Station, they say all those individuals are time travelers, where they are skipping through, I guess, and I'm still a little confused on how this happens, but if they are moving at a different speed than what we move on in Earth, then they are technically in a different time, even if it's a second or two. So according to Daily Mail, they quote NASA saying time travel is traveling faster than 1 second per second. But NASA says it is possible. They say everyone is moving forward in time at different speeds, depending on where we are and how fast we're moving. Now, in 1915, Albert Einstein presented this theory of general relativity to the Prussian Academy of Sciences in Berlin, and he proved that time travel was possible. Dr. Alice Dare Richmond, a philosopher and time travel expert from the University of Edinburgh, said Einstein teaches us that how fast time passes in your surroundings varies with your velocity. Essentially, this means the faster you travel, the slower you experience time. If you're on a plane or train, you will be experiencing time slower than anyone standing still, and experiments have shown this to be true. Then in the 70s, two scientists named Joseph Hafele and Richard Keating tried to prove Einstein's theory by producing time dilation on Earth. They took two ultra-precise atomic clocks. You guys have heard about this. They loaded them onto commercial airplanes capable of flying all the way around the world, I guess in one tank. Didn't know we had planes at the time that could do that. One clock was sent east, the other west, and they were compared to a third clock that was left stationary on the ground. The clock moving eastward with the Earth's rotation would be moving faster than a one on the ground, and so experience less time passing. Meanwhile, the clock that flew westward on the westward plane against the Earth's rotation would be moving slower than the clock on the ground, and so would actually have experienced more time passing. And then, of course, my computer, I don't know how that works as quickly as it does, messes things up. So hold on a second. Now I just lost my article. Well, the results, if I remember, show that there was a difference as it pertained to the planes. Now, I apologize because now my computer's down. So my computer is now on a different time zone. So I remember as a kid learning about that, where they were able to, with the atomic clocks, show that time was different, that the clocks didn't change. And that's why when we saw the Back to the Future movie, where they showed the when I guess the doc was showing Marty McFly the time travel, how they looked at the minutes and they showed that the dog was able to, it was Einstein, I think the dog's name was Einstein, where the dog's watch was a different time than theirs, because while he experienced something, he was only gone for a split second. So I can't word this as eloquently as probably Einstein could, but this clock experiment, when the clocks landed at, I guess, when they landed, Hafele and Keating, the two 1971 scientists, found the eastward clock had lost 59 nanoseconds, and the westward clock gained 237 nanoseconds. So according to this theory, if you move at a higher speed, you're going to be experiencing less time. Or you're going to be going through time less. And the whole concept of time traveling is you don't want to go ahead to like 2045 and then die because your body, had to go through another 20 years of life. And so are we going to be able to make that sort of time travel happen? Well, astronauts aboard the ISS, the International Space Station, travel around the Earth at speeds close to 17,500 miles per hour. They say that is fast enough to experience slight time travel. NASA astronaut Scott Kelly spent 520 days on the station, aged slower than his identical twin Mark Kelly, who stayed back on Earth. So at a panel discussion back in 2016, Mark said, so where I used to be 6 minutes older, now I am 6 minutes and 5 milliseconds older. Now, scientists probably had a big laugh because scientists laugh at that kind of humor. That's really funny to us. But it's cool. We're just not going to be at the level of Back to the Future. Traveling backwards, they say, is much trickier. But it is theoretically possible. They say you have to bend time and space. And the reason why I believe that there is a possibility of that is when you guys see a star and you hear something is light years away and you're looking at the star, if something is 100 light years away and you're looking at it, that means it started emitting its light 100 years ago. And you're seeing that star today because 100 years ago, it emitted that light. Now, I know that's kind of hard to kind of wrap our brains around, but when you hear something is a certain amount of light years away, now we have this concept of we are looking at something in real time that happened in our past. It blows our mind. I don't know. But this all generated from Einstein's general theory of relativity. He determined that the laws of physics are the same for all non-accelerating observers, and that the speed of light in a vacuum was independent of the motion of all observers, known as the theory of special relativity. And for him to figure this out, again, still, it boggles my mind. But then he spent 10 years trying to include acceleration in the theory, and then he published his theory of general relativity in 1915. And it determined that massive objects caused a distortion in time, which is felt as gravity. And so I guess in simplest terms, it could be thought of as a giant rubber sheet with a bowling ball in the center. As the ball warps the sheet, a planet bends the fabric of space-time, creating a force that we feel as gravity. So interesting stuff, but we're still not where we could go back into the 1950s like I'd like to and, rock out with Elvis. The 1877, Dr. Daliah.
Hi, everyone. If you've been injured in an accident and think you deserve compensation, listen up. We have legal professionals standing by right now. They'll tell you if you have a case and how much it's potentially worth. Call 800-910-7500. That's 800-910-7500. Call now to find out how much your case could be worth.
Advertisement sponsored by Legal Help Center. May not be available in all states.
At Hot Shot Secret, we share the science behind common diesel problems. For example,
diesel fuel cetane levels.
The cetane rating in diesel fuel is 42 to 45. Most diesel engines operate more efficiently with a cetane rating of 48 to 50. One treatment of Hot Shot Secret Diesel Extreme will raise your cetane 7 points, increase fuel economy, and improve cold starts.
Hot Shot Secret Diesel Extreme is available nationwide at truck stops, fine farm and auto stores, and online at hotshotsecret.com. Hot Shot Secret, powered by science.
Self-reliance. It's not a phrase we hear much in our culture these days. It might conjure up images of pioneers, the West, rifles, strapping men, and strong women. But what does it mean for us in today's world? The New American Magazine has just released its latest collector's edition, Self-Reliance, Foundation of Freedom. In it, the New American authors outline the necessity of self-reliance for a free people, tips for self-reliant living, and the importance of not giving up hope. This unique edition includes articles on the self-sufficiency of the founders, preparing for a worst-case scenario, firearms, financial self-reliance, the importance of community, and many other topics by expert writers. Now, for a limited time, the New American is offering a bundle of 3 collector's editions: Self-Reliance, The Great Reset, and Trump World for just $19.95. Available at shopjbs.org. Visit shopjbs.org today.
Ryan Seacrest here. When you have a busy schedule, it's important to maximize your downtime. One of the best ways to do that is by going to ChumbaCasino.com. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino games like spin slots, bingo, and solitaire that you can play for free for a chance to redeem some serious prizes. So hop on to ChumbaCasino.com now and live the Chumba life. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
All right. We are back on the Dr. Daliah Show. Thank you all for tuning in. 1-877-Dr. Daliah, 1-877-DOCDALI. So one of our listeners wanted to ask about medical student loans, and I'm going to write them back personally, but that I do want to talk about loans, because apparently there's a lot of headlines surrounding federal student loan repayment confusion. There should be no confusion. You borrow money, you repay the money. And I'm blown away at all these years. Borrowers are confused. Now, that's because the previous administration said they were going to just wipe it all away. For some, then, well, maybe 10,000. Nope, you know what? Only for those who, and that was confusing. But I'm telling you right now, if you borrowed money to pay for your house, if you borrowed money to pay for your car, if you borrowed money to pay for school, it should not be confusing that you are going to have to pay that money back. I understand over the previous 4 years, somebody decided to redefine what a loan was and said a loan equated to free money. But no. The definition of a loan never changed. So for those of you that are thinking about going to medical school, and especially during this administration, you will be borrowing money, which unfortunately some of these medical schools are ridiculously priced. They shouldn't be. That's the real issue. Somebody should be cracking down on what these colleges are raping students for financially. I mean, it's horrible what I'm hearing, tens of thousands of dollars. You know, if anybody wants to pay off student loans, it should be the colleges, not the taxpayers. But I've been harping about that for a while. But in this current administration, if you want to go to medical school, if you want to go to college, if you want to buy a car, if you want to buy a house, and you don't have the money and you need to borrow it, you could borrow it from a bank, or you could borrow it from, somebody in an alley. I think it's a little safer to borrow it from a bank. And the bank is going to give you a piece of paper that has everything laid out on repayment. Read it. And then if you want the money, you would have to sign it. Really not confusing. It blows my mind that now, here we are in 2025, people are so confused. People are confused about going back to work. How do I do that? How do I go back to work? You go to work, you clock in, you do your job, and you clock out. What's so confusing? See, we don't have time, people, to be confused about things that are pretty simple, because there's going to be a lot more confusing things coming our way. And if you're confused at something so basic, you're in trouble. We're all in trouble. So COVID changed the way people had to make payments. And being devil's advocate, this is why there's some confusion. Nobody wants to pay for something they don't have to pay. One of the biggest things that really got people's goat and got people upset are those individuals that paid off their student loans when they might not have had to. Nobody wants to be the sucker that paid when there was some miracle saying you didn't have to pay. And so a lot of people took the repayment deferment. And COVID-era loan repayment paused. Now, that ended a year and a half ago. And the Federal Reserve Bank says your credit scores are going to be negatively affected because there's a 12-month moratorium on reporting loan defaults to credit bureaus. Biden did that to protect borrowers, but that stopped. So for those of you going, but then I should have been in default a year and a half ago. There was this moratorium. Biden wouldn't let it go to the credit bureaus. So now all of a sudden now the Federal Reserve's like, guys, if you haven't been paying on your student loans, don't be shocked if your credit report goes down. But I don't like the fact that we redefined something that is now causing confusion. Being employed means you go to work and you do the job. But now the definition is no, you still wake up when you want to at home. You log in, you work from home, and that's employment. Well, maybe for some, but if you have a job, you got to go to the job. If you're taking out a loan, you have to pay back the money. If you want to call it a freebie, if you want to say the loan is going to be converted to a grant, if you want to say, look, your loan is going to be paid by the colleges that overcharged you, you could say that. But don't be starting to redefine things. Look at how they redefined immunity. Natural immunity throughout time was something where your body developed antibodies. Artificial immunity is when you use a vaccine to help give you immunity. Now they're changing that terminology. They don't want to use the term artificial. Natural is where you get exposed to a virus and you build the antibodies. Artificial is we expose it for you. You didn't just get it naturally. Makes sense, but now they're changing the terms. And then they're saying, well, no, you won't have natural immunity, or you won't get, and it starts to bring a lot of confusion. When those of us in medical school had to learn about natural immunity. And yes, if you get exposed to something, you build antibodies. You can still die from it, but natural immunity is still natural immunity. Why are we changing the definitions of things? Masks. When did we change the definition of a mask? When we decided to put a piece of cloth over our face and say that's a mask. Well, a mask for a medical prevention of a virus. Things don't have to be this confusing. So according to Jack Wallace, Director of Government and Lender Relations at Y-Refi, if you have not been paying off your loan or think your loan is paused, check your student aid account, including emails and snail mail from loan servicers. You might be delinquent. Past due balances will hurt your credit scores. I understand with medical debt, that got changed. But if you took out $20,000, $10,000 student loan and you aren't paying it because you're hoping somebody would write it off, and I get that. Somebody could be elected in 2028 and says, you know what? I'm going to write off all your student loans. And so there's people now going, well, maybe I should be in default. Rather than spending the 10, 20, 30 grand, why don't I just hope that another president will write it off? It's not going to happen. You can't just sit around and wait for that to happen. And I get it. Nobody wants to be the one that paid off their student loans, and a lot of us did, just to hear that somebody in the future could write them off. But right now it's a loan. And if you borrowed the money, whether it's for your car, house, whatever, you're going to have to pay it back. So, we should have never confused people. And I get with COVID, they're like, well, why not? If you can't work and we're locking you down, how can you pay off your student loan? But we really need to go back to normalcy. I understand this is the new normal post-COVID. But if we're going to start redefining everything, we're going to have a new generation of individuals that don't know how to go to work, don't know how to follow a boss's instructions, don't know how to pay back a loan, don't know when to pay, when not to pay. Yeah, it's really changing the way people navigate as an adult. And things were simpler. And they can be simpler. I know everybody says, no, Daliah, that's old school, wanting things to go back to the way it was, in, 2016. No, it isn't that much of a stretch, because our younger generations need to know how to navigate banks and contracts and delinquencies. It's not rocket science. 1-877-DOC-DALIAH.
Did you know that healthy arteries make a gas? Yes, actually 3 known gases. Hi, I'm Dr. Mitch, and nitric oxide is a gas that's readily made all day long to keep our arteries open by relaxing the blood vessel walls. By doing this, our circulation is increased, bringing blood, oxygen, and nutrients to every part of your body. Both age and poor diet can lead to a loss of this precious gas, and in turn, blood pressure can go up, energy can go down, and you can get tingling in your hands and feet. Well, our product, Ultimate Nitric Oxide, can easily help fix this lack of nitric oxide. Go to TotalWellness.com. That's TotalWellness.com, where we are helping you to look good, feel good, and enjoy total wellness.
It is Ryan Seacrest here. There was a recent social media trend which consisted of flying on a plane with no music, no movies, no entertainment. But a better trend would be going to ChumbaCasino.com. It's like having a mini social casino in your pocket. Chumba Casino has over 100 online casino-style games, all absolutely free. It's the most fun you can have online and on a plane. So grab your free welcome bonus now at ChumbaCasino.com. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No